Good evening, cherished viewers. I want to welcome you to another wonderful and awesome episode of Ask the Counsellors, a show that educates you, that informs you, that entertains you, and at the end gives you the counsel and the keys to make your marriage and your relationship work. This evening we have a power-packed panel here with us, and I'm your host, Dr. Selassie Ajinasari, and I'm going to introduce our panel, and then we'll go on to discuss and end the topic we started a few weeks ago on finances in marriage. Thank you so much for your feedback that has been coming in about how you have been blessed and impacted by this topic, which is not heard so often. This evening we have in the studio with us Bishop Emmanuel Akun, one of the senior bishops at the Victory Bible Church International. We have with us Reverend Cecilia Jo Dickens. We have Reverend Mike Ankuma, and these panelists need no introduction. But this evening we have a new addition to the team, and we have Pastor Hilary Lewis Nicole, who is the African Director for Youth for Christ International, and he's been married for 30 years. He has wonderful kids and a wonderful family. And this evening he'll be helping us with our discussions as well. But in the past couple of weeks, we've been discussing what finances is. We've looked at different aspects of that. We've looked at different scenarios. And this evening we are just going to end. And this evening, if you have any questions to ask, you can. I'm just going to mention the lines shortly. I'll also open the lines quite early to hear from you. This evening, we would like to hear from you mostly. But if you have a question, you want to send it to us via text message or WhatsApp to 020-343-8710, 020-343-8710. If you are watching via Facebook, or YouTube, you can just type in your question, and we have a team that will pick your question and would hand them over to us, and we'll ask the counselors to help you out with that answer. But this evening, there was something I was reading, a term I came across as I was looking at finances in marriage, and it's called financial infidelity. Just like a man or woman, you can have infidelity in marriage. There's also financial infidelity. And this is where a spouse hides their financial dealings. So there are things that they disclose to their spouse, but there are other things that they think should be kept secret from the other. My question to you is, what should be the level of transparency in a marriage? When one starts a project, but they necessarily tell their spouse, must they disclose everything where finances is concerned, how much I have in the bank, how much I have in investments, what I'm planning to do? What is the level of transparency one must have in a marriage? Yeah, so I'm going to throw that question to you. Okay, so
I think the moment we say marriage, then we must come in with an understanding. From the Bible point of view, they were both naked and were not ashamed. That spells out transparency, openness. And therefore, if we say one is going to build a house, who should he disclose it to the other? From the beginning, it's a problem. The house is our house. Because there's no way you should build a house without the other person not knowing. There's no way you should open an account, or except that you are not sure of the person's faithfulness, or when the person gets to know what the person will squander or waste it. You have to apply some wisdom. But I think that we should disclose. We should be able to disclose so we know that this is ours. It's not yours. The moment we go in with mine and hers, it's a red flag. And for me, it points to the fact that we are heading towards a crash.
I think we are supposed to emulate biblical marriage. And so I agree with Bishop. It should be transparency. And except you are not sure of your partner. If it's not joint account, you don't operate joint account, but you are like, the woman is doing a project, you don't put your monies together. At least it's fair for your husband to know that this is what I want to do, this is what I intend to do, what is your take about it? In my home, even if you want to buy a new dress, you discuss it. If the man wants to buy even a tie, we discuss it. I mean, we go together. Choose for me. It's not my money, but choose for me. Okay. So that is the level of transparency we have in our marriage. So I think if you want to emulate biblical marriage, transparency is the key. Why should you hide such a sensitive thing from your partner? We call it financial cheating. It's a lie. You're cheating on the other party.
So everything, every account, every money, wherever must be known and disclosed.
You see, any time there's a necessity of hiding something, it means that there's something wrong.
Okay.
Anytime this thing should I reveal it means there is something. See, there are times you go into a relationship and things get amiss, and perhaps there is some faithfulness, and you realize that where you are, divorce is out of the question. So at times some couples think that they have to hide something because perhaps the woman's security is not assured. A lot of things have come in, problems have come, they've discussed. Looks like consensus is not coming in, people have come in, and the guy or the man is not agreeing, and there's a possibility that tomorrow the man would get him out of, and so he will decide that when he has his money, her money, build some casual house somewhere in case one day when he's out. So anytime there is something of that, it means that there's a problem. But otherwise, in a normal Christian home between husband and wife, I don't think that there is a necessity of hiding it. Even if something is being hidden, it's not intentional. Perhaps, like you said the other day, every party should have money available to himself, where he doesn't need to account for that. This money, what he use for, so that, like you say, he wants to go and buy something for the partner. He doesn't have to ask that. Oh, where are you taking this money to? I'm going to use it to buy a gift for you. It's nice. So definitely somebody may have something that the person may not know exactly how it is. But it's not something to hide in such a way that it cannot be known. And then when it's revealed, hey, there's a problem with that. Then in that case, there's something seriously wrong with the relationship.
All right. In our generation, there's a trend that is growing, which is called, we call them prenups or prenuptial agreements, where probably the man or the woman had a house coming into the marriage or had a car. You know, you sign a contract that I came into the marriage with this, barring any unforeseen, circumstances, in the future, where the basis for the marriage was what you came into the marriage with, and not, okay, we now divide everything, What do you think of this growing trend, which is becoming quite popular,
If you look at the meaning of the word prenuptial, I looked up the meaning and it says, an agreement made by a couple before they marry concerning the ownership of their respective assets should the marriage fail.
Already.
So that's where it is wrong from the get-go. Because when you talk marriage, you're talking about coming together. You're not thinking of, would we fail? Would it fail? Would this not happen? Would that not happen? It is a journey of faith. When you marry someone, you are marrying somebody who is coming into that relationship, whose background you don't know fully well. You may know some, but as you begin to relate with each other, as you continue on in the relationship, you get to know a lot more. I mean, it takes years for you to get to know the person, as you go on. So there is no need for people to sign up for something like this. Why would you want to say it's an agreement that, okay, just in case this doesn't work, do you want to start off this way? You don't want to start off this way, because you have the confidence that this person you have married, just like you've said the vows, for better, for worse. The only time there would be an issue would be when death strikes. And that one, you don't have to plan for it. But if you say, should the marriage fail, then from the get-go, you've missed it. It's unbiblical.
Then again, I think that then it sets the marriage on a contract level. Like we are coming to contract. Perform, I perform, we are still married. You break your contract, we are part. Or we are breaking this. I think the understanding of marriage from the Bible point of view, or from the creator of marriage, is from the beginning, it's more covenantal. I bring my strength to support your weakness, and you bring your strength to support my weakness. So we come in to complement each other, the two becoming one. So whether you have, except that it's a property bequeathed from family, and it has to go down to grandchildren or to somebody else later. But what I earn and all I have and all I am, I bring it into you. So we become one, and vice versa. So I think I agree with everybody saying that we should, from that statement from the beginning, it's already on the basis of collapsing this.
That's right.
So I think this thing started with people entering into second or third marriages. Are you getting it? They've been divorced before, and they have come with things that are bequeathed to them. And they're thinking of what will happen if I am no more there. And these children are brought into the marriage. How are they going to be taken care of if one is no more? So that is how it started. But human beings can be wicked. Yeah. Human beings can be very evil. The things you have when you're no more there, in African context, they will come and take it from your wife. So I think that is why people started doing the prenup. But if I started with you from infancy and we have gathered the moss, I don't think it is necessary to have a prenup. Yeah.
So it's not a good trend. And now you also see it in Hollywood movies a lot.
That's where it is from.
And if you watch our TVs, virtually everything is content that is imported. And so a lot of people are learning these, and you'd find that in our local setting as well. But in a Christian marriage, that won't help. But that takes me to my next question. You hear people who associate their ability to spend or the ability to be miserly to their temperament. So someone will say, okay, I'm an extrovert, and so I like to spend. Someone will say, okay, I'm an introvert, so I like to hoard or keep. How does one handle a spouse who is like that? So for instance, if my spouse knows that there's money, we must spend it today. As the Bible says, let us eat for tomorrow we die. That wasn't a good So once you have it, you must finish, you must enjoy life. And you have another spouse who would hoard everything, in the name of saving. How do you handle, a marriage like that, where one spouse, once I disclose and I'm transparent, like you said, counselors, my husband or my wife will finish. How do I handle?
If I would take it before maybe I could panelists come in, I think that money is lent, and if the person is a waster or spender, there are three categories I'm looking at: a saver, somebody who is a giver, somebody who is a spender, or who just he has learned the habit. Maybe by observing somebody or grew up with it, wasn't corrected, and doesn't know how to keep and grow money. To know that what is flowing into your life, if you don't manage it well, your end could be miserable. And so for me, counseling in marriage should be ongoing, and every facet of the marriage, we need continuous learning. So if somebody like that comes to hook up with you, he'll be a leaking point in your finances. For instance, and that's what the pastor said, the Reverend said earlier, that if there's a good reason to hide something because the person gets to know, the money will be wasted. But I think that that's why I always say we need every marriage need a mentoring couple who can easily be called to come in and say that the spending style of my husband or my wife is not helping our future finances. And therefore we need to be spoken to. And that person can sit the two of you down and help the person. Or mentoring in church, men's fellowship and all that, mentoring. So, or women to help us understand that what flows in could be your inflow. And because it could be your like in Egypt, in Joseph's Pharaoh's dream, it could be your bumper time. Or maybe coming later will be your lean season. If you don't manage this well, your future will be bleak. So we need to learn money so we can know how to grow money. If you are spending and not saving, Bible calls you a fool. That there's treasure in the house of the wise, but the foolish man spends it all. So if you spend everything that comes into your hand, you can be categorized as wise. You are a fool. So I think that with the teaching and education, we should learn out of that.
Okay. Before the counselors pick up, we want to open the phone lines to hear from you and to hear your questions this evening as we still deliberate on this topic. If you have any questions on where finance is related in marriage, in relationships, you want to call us on 0207 10,000. That's 10001. 0207 10,000. That's 10001. The zeros are 4. We would love to hear from you. I know some of you have been waiting to want to ask the counselors your questions. So if you have any questions on finances, please do call in and we'll have the counselors answer you. But Reverend Ankuma, you wanted to...
Yeah. You see, the man who wrote Temperaments also wrote Spirit-Controlled Temperament. So even if your temperament has a problem, a weakness, it can be spirit-controlled, you see. So when you realize that there's a problem, like Bishop said, you have to sit down and discuss. The other day I was talking to a lady who was gone on pension, and then he was saying that at a point in time when he realized, he will mention to the husband, hey, Kweku, you should try and do something. Why are you rushing? Anytime he brings the topic up, the man said that, it's just... So there was this land that a colleague saw. That's why we come about. I didn't know. A colleague saw, and she thought that, no, I'll buy it. So he bought the land, and then that kind of thing. When now there was time for them to go to a pension, that's why the man realized that, hey, if my wife hasn't bought this land, we'll have in trouble. So now you also brought some money.
I hope it was bought in both names.
Perhaps. And they have to develop the thing, and now they have a place of so there are times those things come. At times is a woman, at times is a man, and the other partner must also know that he's a man. If he says it's too early, at the end of the day, the two of you will suffer when you go on retirement. So when there is a problem like that, it must be acknowledged. Whoever is the problem must acknowledge that I have a problem with handling money. And so when my wife or my husband says this, let me agree, and so that for our own future, so that the two of us will not suffer in the future.
Okay. I think there should be...
Okay, you go ahead.
I think there should be some active communication, active listening. You know, once you identify what the challenges are, now you see the weakness in your spouse, and you think he's a spendthrift, or she's a miser. To a large extent, temperaments can speak into this. Because like a sanguine person, a sanguine is just spent anyhow. It doesn't look behind. It doesn't check. But the choleric, the melancholic, they would be the ones, okay, they're the go-getters. They are, they are very meticulous in what they're doing. They want to make sure. But like Reverend said, there are certain habits that are bad habits that we have to unlearn. We have to be conscious about them. But you see, we have to listen to each other. Each spouse has to listen to the other to say, okay, this is your weakness. Can I help you with this? So whenever there's a situation where you have to spend money, let's talk about it first. And there should be that willingness. So the listening skills should be there. You should be able to listen, to understand, and to say, okay, yes, I think I should listen to my wife. I have found out that, personally, when I want to make major decisions, I talk with my wife. I get good advice from her. And I'm able to balance things out. So it's one of the things that the couple should be able to do, to listen, actively engage. So you acknowledge what the problem is, but then talk about it. Even, yes, you can engage mentors, counselors, like Bishop was saying, but you need to sit and talk. That's what we are missing in some of our marriages. The couples don't sit and talk. The problems are there, they're swept under the carpet, and then before you know it, things go south. So I think that's a key piece. There's a tendency for somebody to lean on some of those weaknesses, but sit and talk about it and find ways around it. So if your spouse says to you, before you do anything, when it comes to money, talk to me so that I can help you out. I can suggest things to you. Then that would help. If you just go with that, that would be helpful.
I was going to say that apart from the temperament thing, it is also our background. Some of the things we have acquired. You see, like when you were growing up, you didn't have exposure to a lot of money. And you struggled before getting things. When the money starts coming, you think, this is my time to spend. And you postpone things for the future. And there are some people from the background of, they were spoiled. They got everything they wanted when they were growing up. So there was no measure, there was no restriction. So they grow up with it. So in the end, it affects your marriage. That is where your submission comes in. You have to know your weakness. You have to know your strength. You have to know that now I'm no longer me, but we have become we. And so we have to take decisions together. Many times, a lot of the times, what we came to meet was daddy who was taking all the decisions, making all the decisions, because mommy was at home. In our setting, then our age, some of us started becoming career women, we were working. But still, it was the man that was going out and doing the projects, and so whatever he felt like doing, he would do without the discussion. But now, in this 21st century, we need to talk because you have the money, I also have the money, we are both working. So we should check our backgrounds, we handle money. We should know that money is the fulcrum of everything. Everything runs around money. But the Bible tells us that wisdom is the principal thing. In all our getting, we should get wisdom. Wisdom to manage money. There are some people, it is the women who know how to manage money. But the men who keep their monies from them. So they go up and they feel like they should spend their money anyhow. So we should be prudent in the way we use our money these days.
You see, if I borrow a sec, the man of God said we should talk about money. The lady right now said we should know who handles money well. If I'm married to my wife and I figure out, in my case, whatever we're going to do, if she's the one going to spend the money, we cover a lot of space. Yes. And when I'm going to do it, they're like, why don't I direct and she manages it? So we together are doing it for our own betterment. So I think the two of us should sit down, look at who can manage this thing better. I think that's the way to go.
All right. So we are going to take some questions that have come in from our viewers. This is from Frederick from Takrady. And he says, I've been dating this girl for 7.5 years now. She's also 29 years of age, and she's now doing her national service as a nurse. I don't have a permanent job, though, but she's insisting that I should get a permanent job this year, and by the end of this year or early next year, we get married. But she's someone who always thinks it's my responsibility to provide for her. If I told her I didn't have money and she gave me some, she will make sure she gets her money back. I need your advice. I need your advice. So what should Frederick do? The lady thinks that it's his responsibility to provide, even if she gives. So she's lending to him, and she must get her money back.
This is a lady who, like Pastor Andre was saying, have lived in a house where perhaps daddy is the one who provides everything, and then that mentality.
Can we come back? Okay. Caller who has been on the line for a while.
All right.
Good evening. Tell us your name and where you are calling from, and our counselors would love to hear your question. Hello, good evening. Okay, right. Thank you. All right. Reverend Akuma, please go ahead.
Yeah. So that is, it's not too wrong for a woman to think that my man should be in charge, should be but it means that the idea of he not going to marriage without getting a good job or a permanent job is not good. Like he say, he must make sure that he gets a job and well settled, at least have an accommodation before he marries. Now he's saying that the lady thinks that, so it means that that's how you should go. He must find a job before he marries this lady, because that thing that he's saying, it won't change. When they marry, it won't change. Yeah.
All right. So this from Belinda, and she says, how do you cope with a man who is always planning to do something for him financially after 3 months of not working? He's always thinking about how to gather money without any implementation of the ideas. He has thought through it over and over again. Meanwhile, there are people who are ready to assist him, but he isn't asking and wants to do it alone. So I think this is a lady who is married, and her husband is always planning financially. He doesn't have a plan, but he's always thinking of gathering money, but there are people who are there to help him. How can she help the husband, or what advice would you have for the man?
This is tricky.
No, I have a case. I have a case like that. They are in church, and they married, and when the marriage was going on, they were married. The guy had things he was doing. Unfortunately, immediately they married. Some of the business went so, and as at now, and like the lady will come every day, new program. Every day I'm going here. Every day I'm going. Meanwhile, nothing comes out of the thing, and just like this lady, she's worried. I think that what you should do is that you should let counselors, somebody the man respects, somebody the man respects, to speak to him so that he can get settled and do something. Yes.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Please, let's take it and then we'll come back. Sorry. Good evening. You are live on Ask the Counselors. Please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Good evening.
Yeah, I'm called Mike. I'm calling
you are live
from
on Ask the Counselors.
Medina. Yeah, good evening, sir.
I think we lost. I think we lost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to say
I said I'm Medina, but I want to join you.
We understood the question. That means that the guy has a lot of plans, but he wants to work it out all by himself. He doesn't want to get help from anybody. In this life, you will get more from relationships or networking than from your personal efforts. So if you know people who can open a door for you, recommend something for you, why don't you let them know the challenge you have? I think the wife should be able to spread the issue. My husband is out of job. Please, we can help him. Please get close to him. Because somebody can just make a call and you'll be in a job. Instead of keeping it quiet to yourself and say, I'm going to help myself. Even God will bless us if we give, He will give back to us. Good measure through other men. Shall men give unto you. So it's important we open up our life. Life is a contact sport. You are dealing with people. It's people who God will bless you through. Let's open up. Let's open up.
So if you keep calling and the line keeps falling through, please try to reach us. We'll get through to you shortly. The number to call is 0207 10,000. That's 100001. 0207 10,001. I have this question from Efia, and she says, I want to ask, we are legally married. My husband's income is half of mine. How should responsibilities in the marriage be? I am a helper according to the Bible, but how should I help here? So the helper seems to have
a woman asking the question.
Yes.
So obviously, I think that the onus falls on the man to take care of the home. But if the woman for now is positioned to be the help, the leader now, financially, I use the word leader carefully, she must be open and submit, and I use the word submit in the sense that she still sees the man as the head while she's still meeting the needs of the home, anticipating and praying, and that the man will take up his position maybe quickly, and then things will run well. But the man should also take advantage. Because my wife is earning more, I will sleep on that. The woman should not, I know marriages where women are the one leading and they are the one dispersing finances when it comes to money. I mean, they are the people who are earning more and keeping the home going. Everybody is quiet and things are going on well.
Okay.
So if the woman is playing that role for now and still respects the man, it should be okay. But the man should not sleep on that. He should find a way to get back. There are cases where that will be what it will be because the woman is qualified educationally and going to earn more for life, more than the man. The man might be supportive. When you come home, don't cross your leg and be waiting to be served. You can even go once in a while, go and dish the food, serve that woman, and make her feel like you appreciate her input into the marriage. Okay. I'm sure a lot of wisdom comes into play, and the marriage will be fine.
Okay. And like Bishop is saying, the man should not rest on his oars and say, oh, let me just sail along, it's okay. I think he should try to see how he could man up and do what he has to do. The woman, on the other hand, should not take over. I have been in situations where I remember I was in the US. I was talking to this lady. I mean, when it comes to everything, talking to the kids, they go to a restaurant, when it comes to pray, the lady is like, okay, can we hold our hands and can we pray now? And man, after one or two times, I said, you know what, Tina, let's talk. And then I said, won't you give him the chance to play his role as a man? Sometimes the women do that. The spouses do that. They take over completely, and it shouldn't be that. You should allow the man, even if the man does not earn as much, give him the opportunity. When, let's say, there are school fees to be paid or something that needs to be done, you sit and talk with your spouse, your husband. Say, oh, they send the school fees, they send this thing, this bill. So how do we do about this? You know you are going to take care of it. But just bringing it to the husband is recognizing the fact that he is the one that should, be in charge. And let him say, oh, well, honey, then you give him that opportunity. Yes.
Decision taking.
Yes. So
let him be in charge
of decision, yes. Decision taking.
But the problem here is I am financing. And that is the lady's problem.
Yeah, but
yes. So that's what.
If you pay the money,
yes,
without even knowing about it,
that's it. That's an issue.
Yes.
Then you've taken charge totally. So that's where I'm coming from. That they need to talk, so that where the man now says, "Okay, honey, can you go ahead and do this? Later, I will give you this," or just make some arrangements. Again, I still believe that there needs to be a lot of engagement in terms of how they converse, how they talk about all of these things, because these things do happen. Where you have the women who are, they are the big earners, and you have that. How do you handle that? You need to keep talking about it.
This issue you brought up brings a challenge into the fray. birth positions. Here's a woman who has grown as the firstborn, giving instructions to all siblings.
Yes.
All she knows is do this, go here, come here. When he gets married to a man who might be maybe the lastborn, has his own challenges. That's what I'm saying. Learning should be going on regularly. I might think what I'm doing is right, but like you spoke to the lady, and she would, I'm surely know that, I surely know that she will know I'm on the wrong side. Let me correct my ways. If we keep on learning, we'll be better partners.
Yeah. That's it.
My question in this situation is, so as the woman, so I'm giving more to the home. Am I allowed to demand some accountability? Am I allowed to find out, okay, what did you do with our money? Is it right? How do I do that without making the man feel, as if his responsibility is being taken from him, or, his...
That is where Pastor Hillary's submission comes in. You discuss things.
Okay.
You engage each other to discuss things. We are going to get the other time I talked about budgeting. We are going to get a fridge. This is how much you are bringing, and this is how much I am bringing. But we bring it together, and I ask you to go and get it. If you even went and there was a discount, you should be able to discuss it with me that when I went, there was a discount. So we have this amount of money. Because when you go to Melcom, they make you buy some coupons where you have some discounts.
That's right.
You should be able to discuss it.
So
they're engaging one another in conversation and discussion is very, very key.
So then it looks like when it comes to finances, transparency is...
Yes. Because money...
Transparency, open communication.
Yes.
So that no one feels threatened at any point, especially the man, the ego. There should be accountability, all of that. So when there's that openness, they're willing to talk freely. The man would not feel bad when the woman says, or ask the question, so how much did you pay for this? Or how much did you chip in? He will not feel bad because he knows where the woman is coming from. So there is so much that hinges on communication, talking to each other.
All right, this question says that, okay, then it's an anonymous question. It says,
To the
please...
man out there, if your wife is giving the money, she's asking you, how was the money dispersed?
Humble yourself.
Let go
yourself and
let go your ego.
Humble yourself
Let go your ego.
and give account.
It will make her feel happy to even stand by you the more. By the time she asks you and you do, I can't tell you, or you fight.
What is it? What is it?
There's nothing.
Is it because your money?
Then you take your shirt and walk out.
In my home, my wife, if she goes to buy it, she wants to break down everything. I say, I need a total figure.
You see, temperament comes in here.
That's right.
So when she's asking me, I know the type of person she is.
Yes.
So you have to break it down, make her happy. That's all.
This says, please, good evening. My name is Pamela. My husband is not working, and I'm the only one taking financial responsibility of the family. And my husband likes spending a lot. I'm very uncomfortable about it, but I don't want him to feel bad too. What do I do?
Oh.
Let him feel bad.
Let him feel bad. You see, like we have always said, in the home where the woman is the one providing, spending, taking financial leadership, at best it can go on for some time. Immediately it elongates. It will definitely bring problem. One, any man, if he's a real man, will feel very uncomfortable with his ego, where is the woman who is the one taking charge and things like that. And normally their response is not good because immediately the woman brings in something. I said it. Because he's one have money. He doesn't respect me. And anything, any suggestion the woman brings, he thinks that it's because. Perhaps it's not even because he has the money, but what you are doing is not right, and you must change. And so in this case, I think that like we have already said, the woman must find a way of getting somebody to talk to the man. Because that situation, like even where the woman has high the income is high. It should not be forever. The man should try as much as possible that these things change, because God did not create it like that. Anytime the order changes, there are basic things in marriage, basic foundational things. Anytime they change, problem.
Sex can be affected.
Yes.
Sex.
And sometimes, like everyone was saying, you can kind of bring somebody in. For some spouses,
It can even be a problem.
they don't like that. For somebody else to come in, to know about their finances. I was talking to a couple one time, and we spoke about their finances. And the lady was saying all sorts of things against the guy. He's not doing this much, he's not doing... And then the guy said, okay, Pastor, let me tell you this now. This is what I've done. And started enumerating all the things that he has done. And the lady just went berserk. No, I would not take this. She cut off the call. She would not continue the call with me and the husband. Because she said, why are you saying this now to him? Why are you saying... So there needs to be some caution there. I would say if they have a good relationship, it would be good to talk about it. But if you are bringing somebody in who is like a complete stranger, maybe it will not augur well. It has to be maybe somebody that he respects and would listen to.
Sure.
So that at the end of the day, it would bear good fruit.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, I want to pick that point, because I believe that two are better than one. And the two of us must first of all handle our marital issue. She's the first port of call. Before it goes out, we should have spoken about it. Try to solve the problem once or twice or thrice. If we know that now we are not solving it and it's now becoming detrimental, that's what I'm saying. From the beginning of every marriage, there should be somebody counseling them. And that beginning of counseling creates an inroad into the marriage. And this same person who counseled you from the beginning has already gained an inroad, who can easily call the two of you and talk to you. Because they've taught you something about communication, about finances, about something. That should be an inroad created. So when the two of us cannot solve our problem, we should have an understanding. In my home, we know, of course, we've not gone anywhere yet though, but we know that if something happens that is overwhelming, we know where to go. So if my wife goes there, it's not like she's going to expose me. But because she's spoken to me once or twice and she's not getting results, she goes there. We all know that this is where we've agreed. That when we hit a rock, this is the person or couple we are going to. I think that understanding is there. I think it helps us. Before there's an explosion, somebody can help us. Because somebody has been on that road before and can help us.
That's right.
I think so.
And I think that before you take your matter to somebody else, discuss it. I hope you don't mind. We're not making a headway. You don't mind my going to tell Pastor Ajo.
Exactly.
Yes, so that that is what I most of the time ask. You want me to talk to your husband? He said, no, my husband is this and that. I said, okay.
Yeah.
The
men don't like it.
Let's be praying for God to touch his heart. Because if you just go out of your own way to go and report to another person, it can even bring something else.
Okay. All right, this is from Cameroon. Okay.
Yeah, there was a case where I was dealing with, where because of my relationship with the people, when I call the guy, say, oh, Pastor, and I said, no, you must come. This thing, you must talk about it. I don't want to hear what you are saying. Hey, I want to see my office now. And he came, and I talked to them. Later on, he said, Rev, thank you that you called us. That kind of, so there must be somebody that the person must.
It's from Cameroon, and the question says, my question is, I want to marry my fiancée, but her mother thinks she should marry another man simply because he earns more money than I do. And he already has a wife and wants my fiancée to be a second wife. What advice do you have for me?
The fiancé loved the
What
man.
is the fiancé saying? What is she thinking? What is her mind about it? No, how can you, if you're a Christian, why should you be a second wife or a third wife? Is it because of money? Who knows the turn of events? The other person, after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, would be somewhere else. So
I'm not sure of the culture of Cameroon. But if you're an adult, you take a decision.
yes.
Your parents can advise you, but marriage should be your decision. I think so.
All right. So we have some questions coming in that are not related to finances. So if you are sending your question or you've sent questions to us that are not related to finances, next week we'll come back and deal with other issues relating to marriage and courtship. But today we want to focus on those who have sent questions on finances. So please bear with us. This question says, "Good evening, panel, and thanks for the education. My husband has other kids outside our home. He has other responsibilities. Please, I want to know how to deal with my finances, as he also has to take care of other children aside the ones we have. I'm a working lady." What?
The husband has
Other kids aside. So they have kids in the home, but he has other kids, probably from a previous marriage or yes, or some way.
My take is this: he's your husband. He has other kids. So, in the disbursements of our finances, you should also be considerate that the man has other kids, and once in a while, be supportive. Let the man knows that you also love his children, and once in a while, buy gifts for the children, and let him know you care for them too. Whilst you also care about your children. And that should be the approach. Shouldn't be like you are on your children and his are his children. If he puts all the money there, you start complaining. So I think that whilst you support him, let him also know that you are mindful about his children.
Would it be fair or would it be selfish to say, okay, they are your children. When your money comes, split part. But what I earn, let it be for those in the house. Would it be selfish? Would it be
the best thing is that
okay?
The lady should see those other children in a Christian home as her own children. Accept those children as her own, and be interested in their welfare.
Exactly.
So that even when these children have gone to school, how about those children? Have you paid their school fees? You should let the man know that I'm also interested because I love you. I love your children. Even though they are not my biological children, I love them as my own children. As Christians, we go out there and even help brilliant and needy students who are not related to us in any way. Here you have your husband as other children. See them as your own children and be interested in their welfare as you're interested in their welfare. In future, you will reap. Those children will grow, acknowledge you as their mother, and you get the same benefits that your own personal Christian will get you. So you should make it a problem.
At times when we are discussing things like this on television, I see that we are talking about Christians, purely Christians who believe in the Bible, whatever the Bible is saying, and we want to exemplify it. But I always want us to help the people who are listening to us who are not in the faith that we are. I am from a polygamous home with many children. Are you getting me? And when we got married, we didn't have other children. You didn't tell me you had other children. The other children came in when we were married. Well, I had my kids.
Okay.
So
you mean your parents?
No.
Not me. It's even my parents, but there are other homes like that.
Okay.
Are you getting it? And I was in the house. I knew how finances were. I knew how life was going. Then you go and tell me that I have other children. At times you wouldn't even know that this man has other children until later. It demoralizes the woman. It breaks the woman. It makes the woman at times even lose
Trust issues.
And so if you are telling me that because I love you, I should take care of, it's not very easy.
Exactly.
It's not easy at all. So let me keep my money is what other people will come with. I'm not going to use my money to take care of your children. Unless, of course, the woman also comes to a point of understanding. There are some people who go to church, who are in church, who are suffering what we are talking about. But unless the person has been nurtured, trained, prayers and counseling have gone on for the person to understand that I am now, but to say that I'm okay, I'm going to use some of the money to help you to take care. I don't think Mama ever did that. My mommy never did that. But that is why I purposed in my heart that I'm not going to marry a man who already has children. And so if you marry somebody who has children, then you should be aware that these children were there before you married. So if they were there, you don't have to deprive the man of taking care of the children. The children are very, very important. There are some, I have some siblings who are better or far better off than my mother's children. Are you getting it? If mom has said, don't take care of your children, that would have been something else. Are you getting it? So don't force the woman in the house to take care of the other children.
Mommy, I just want to just step in. I think it's not a matter of forcing, it's a matter of advising. Because let's assume the person is not a Christian. That child that is not, you didn't even know that the man had them. They suddenly they pop out.
Please, would you be able to hold the idea? We have a call on the line. Yes, good evening. It looks like the issue of finances is a really...
Good evening.
Good evening. You are live on Ask the Counsellors. It looks like you will be our only caller for this evening. Please go ahead with your question. We'll love to hear.
I'm in the same...
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm in the same situation as the person called and said his husband has some other children outside.
Okay.
For me, I was not informed. No, he has about 6 children outside. I didn't know. And then when we found the truth, we found out that he has children, and then we asked him. He said he has only 3. So I got into the marriage. Now, getting into the marriage, I discovered the other 3 elsewhere, where he sends money to them sometimes unknowingly, or I don't know about it. And so getting to find out this, I'm so hurt, and I'm not even happy with the marriage, and I don't want to physically come to my house to support him that way. So as I'm listening to your program now, I don't know. I'm enthused to find out from this discussion whether I'm being right or I'm wrong. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
So obviously, is she done?
Yes. Thank you.
Hurt, you will be hurt because you have trusted a person. Love issues are heart issues. Put your heart into somebody's life and then she breaks your heart. Children come up, one of your children. But I am saying, as much as they are not your physical children and you have been hurt, deceived, and offended, it's also good advice to know that they are your step children, the children of your husband.
That you didn't know of.
That you didn't know of.
Okay.
So now, you see, if you take decisions out of the head, we are not teaching posterity a lesson. But if out of your head, you stand strong to show some love for these children and become a spine in the back of the man in these times, he will see you as a different woman. Hurt, you will be hurt. But that is not what is going to guide your actions. It says, be angry,
And sin not.
but sin not. So angry you will be, but your decisions should be mending and correcting. So the children will see another mother in you. And tomorrow, even when they stand well, they will say, this mother was more closer to us than our real mother. And I think that that's the advantage. And it has its own blessing as well. So that's my advice. I know hurt and offense, yes.
So the question now would be, for this lady, there are 6 kids. I don't know how many kids they have currently.
That's what she knows.
Yes. So I don't know how many kids they have in their home, but 6 kids out. How do we manage the little we have, or even our finances, such that it's not spread so thin that the kids, we have now are lacking?
It's a difficult situation.
It's a
Doc.
very difficult. Yes.
Go ahead.
Doc, you see, marriage issues, after you are married, you must take issue like, now I am married. That is why when you are going to marry, you must be careful the person you are marrying. You see, perhaps if you have made a little research, you have realized that this guy is not faithful. Now you didn't know if married, and these children are there. Now remember that those children are innocent. So if you punish those children because of their problem, because of the mistake of their father, what we are saying is that it will be future. So as long as they are there, of course, these children are plenty. So we know how to be able to manage our finances. But it should not be out of the fact that because they are not my children, when they have a need, you shouldn't provide for them. Or the school fees.
I don't care.
I don't care whether they go to school or I pay their school fees. No, I don't. No, I think that one, even if you're not a believer, Christian principles work across board. The principle of love, whether you know Christ or you're a Muslim, it works across board. So the principle of loving people who had come around you per something is a principle that works.
It's not going to be easy.
So even though it's not easy, I believe that if you apply the principle of love, you win at the end of the day. You love the people, and definitely, you shouldn't provide for those children at the expense of our welfare. That because of those children, and afraid they be crying. No, that one is wrong. But take care of us. Must make sure that the little you can do also to help them, that they also will live. Give them all.
It's a very difficult situation, and I do understand where this lady is coming from. So to just glib over it, it's not the right thing to say, to just say, okay, well, just treat it this way. No, it is painful, it is hurtful, and I think if the husband shows some understanding and remorse, it will be helpful so that lady heals up quickly. But I think, I've spoken about the love piece. I would say the woo piece. How does the woman woo this man into loving her, into just making the relationship the way it should be? That's what she should do. Yes, she's gotten to know that there are kids out there, 6 kids. Just throw yourself out there. Try to love these kids. Try to be the mother to them. Maybe they would have their physical mother there, but be another mother so that this man sees that you are loving the kids. You may not have enough money to spread, to take care of fees, to take care of all the needs of the kids. But just that show of woo, that show of love, to say, I am with you. So again, it takes us to that point where there must be the conversation. They must talk about this. Maybe it's something that she just got to learn about. Or maybe it had happened before they got married. They have to keep talking about it and to see how she, the lady, would woo the heart of the man. So that once you begin to take care of those kids, the man feels like, oh, well, she's doing it. I will take care of all now, and I'm okay.
So we'll let Bishop Akun have the last word. But my last, so in the spirit of transparency, does the man have to always say if he's going to give money to the other kids? Must he always tell the woman, oh, I'm paying fees here, I'm doing that? Or how must he be?
Well, like we said before, if they have separate things he can hold on to, and besides our money, our 80% or whatever, he can work on his 20%. But it will be better if you are transparent. Oh, these people's fees I just paid last week. The woman will know that this my husband is open to me, and let her know, like the wooing factor. If you are wooing him, he also find a pull towards you and try to disclose things to you. So it's not like we are in war. My take there is, we counselors too must sit up. If you're not married out there, don't go into a secret marriage. Get somebody to counsel you. They can pull out facts. Are you married? You have children? Will come out before you get married. But if you're two of you go into a corner somewhere and sign paper, Rachel General, you are married, but then realize you are into something terrible.
Sure.
And if you sit down with a couple who are going to marry, please find out these things from them. If they have diseases, if they have dependents they are taking care of before they get married, and it becomes a big problem in the marriage. So I think we should be also helping those who are about to marry.
So your last words before
virtually, I think that couples should enter into this union knowing that it's a human relationship, and they may be challenges. And they say there will be challenges. Abraham's marriage has its own challenges. David's marriage had its own challenges. Even Jesus' family had its own challenges. I'm sure Joseph once in a while would say, I don't even know what it's like. Every marriage will have their own unique challenges. We have to depend on God to help us stand to solve our problems.
Amen.
And we don't have to despair.
So sorry we've had to go beyond our time, but this was a question we had to answer. But thank you for staying with us. I could see more questions coming in towards the end of the program. Next week, we are going to come back and pick your questions. So join us same time next week. It's a show dedicated solely to answering your questions. We are going to open the phone lines quite early to also hear from you. Thank you for staying with us. We are going to ask Bishop Akun to pray, and then we can call it a night.
Father, we thank you for tonight. We tap into your grace. We thank you for the wisdom released tonight.
Yes, Lord.
Help our hearers to be doers of what they've heard and not hearers only. And as they apply, let the eternal Spirit help them to get results. And may the peace we have found in our marriage be extended to them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. God bless you. Have a good night and a blessed week. Bye-bye.